the Victorious Living Solutions podcast. I'm your host, Nikeya Young, and here in the building, we have a very, very special guest on today's show, and that is none other than my amazing co-producer, baby daddy, and handsome husband, Mr. Rodney Young Jr.
Well, thank you for the very esteemed intro. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And as you can see, we're representing in our fabulous Christmas pajamas. These things are so warm and cozy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we're a few days away from Christmas. Very cuddly at the taping of this episode. And we are so excited. This is our last episode of 2022, you all. And so we're going to see you all again in 2023. We haven't gotten the exact start date, but keep tuned in to our LinkedIn and our Instagram and YouTube and all those channels, and subscribe to our email list. If you guys haven't subscribed to our email list, you're not going to be in the know. So we'll keep you posted is what I'm saying on when the premiere will be in January. But we're closing out 2022 by talking about our favorite podcast episodes from the season.
Yes.
And so, yes, I'm excited about this. I have my top 3. It was really hard to pick a top 3 because they're my babies and I love them all. But there were a couple.
You love some of them more than others.
I love some of them more than others. No, I love them all, but there were definitely 3 that were some of my faves from the season. Rodney has picked out his, and we're going to share with you. And then we're just going to give a general overview of how the season went, what we're excited about from it, lessons we learned from it, and what we're looking forward to getting into going into 2023, the directions we want to go with the podcast. So let's get into it. All right. So number 3, we're just going to go 3, 2, 1. What was your third favorite?
All right. My third favorite was Vibe Check. What's your self-concept? Now, I like that episode because it talked about how we view ourselves, right? Like what are we, and it's something that I feel like we don't, we kind of get going, okay, I'm focused. I got my goals. But we don't always pause to think about that stuff. And when you start talking about that, I actually had to do some inventory as well. I had to think like, hey, how am I viewing myself? And maybe I'm viewing myself positively in one area, but I need work in another area.
Yes.
And I think that's what made me like that episode a lot.
Thank you. That was a good one. And you're right. There are some things where we could feel really, really confident in certain areas, and others we're just kind of like, I don't know. You don't have as much confidence. And that episode definitely dealt with thinking and doing some deep diving and figuring out why, like what's your self-concept? Not only what is it, but why is it the way that it is? So that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
And that one too, I know you talked about how sometimes your self-concept could be shaped by certain people in your life.
Yes.
And you
people,
don't even,
environments.
And you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
You don't realize that your interactions with this person, be it negative or whatever, have over time, and I was able to see that in my life. So that was helpful.
Yeah. I mean, it's really important to put yourself in positive environments, whether it be positive work environments. There are some jobs that can literally chip away at your soul on a daily basis and truly damage your self-concept. I have been there in the workplace, baby. That is why my butt is happily at home being a mompreneur, homeschooling my 3 kids, happy as a clam, instead of where I was working before. But jobs can do it, and that's why we've been seeing this great resignation. A lot of people were confronted with that when the pandemic started. They got to be home, working from home, and then when it was time to go back, it was just like, oh my God, like I didn't realize how much this place was stressing me out or sucking the life out of me, or how psychologically and emotionally abusive my boss was, or whatever the case was, like how undervalued I felt by not being paid my worth, whatever. Like people had their reasons, like they just told their jobs, you won't break my soul, and deuces, like in droves. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And so that was one, the work environment. It could be your family. It could be toxic friends, any kind of toxic relationships, all that stuff.
Don't give it all away. Let them check out the episode themselves.
Go back and check it out. Like,
it's good stuff.
Go back and check it out and share it. Yeah.
All right. What about you? Number 3.
My number 3. This one was episode 14, and it was called Failed Forward. Forward. And I love this episode because I shared some things in my life about situations that didn't really go the way I wanted them to go, but instead of, just dwelling on the outcome not being what I wanted, I decided to step back and write down the lessons that I learned from it and use those quote unquote failures as gasoline to propel me forward. Mm-hmm. And that's really important to know how to do. Instead of letting a failure stop you dead in your tracks and make you scared from ever stepping out and trying anything ever again. And, instead of you causing failures to allow you to freeze, go forward, fail forward. So, yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, let's go to number 2. What was your second in our 3, 2, 1 rankings? What was yours?
Fail Forward.
Really?
Yes. That was my second one. And I like that one because a lot of like the idea of, to me, that talks about that idea of resilience, right? Like how quickly do you get back up after life smacks you in the face, and or you attempt something and it doesn't work out. And I think that's something that I've had to reevaluate as well. Mm-hmm. So, some things, they fail, and okay, are you going to attempt, something again similar, or are you going to get back up and do the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, and oftentimes in the past, I've just, okay, that didn't work out. I'll just do something else. Yeah. Instead of staying on mission, right? Instead of saying, hey, no, let's do this again. Let's keep it going until we get it. So, I love that resilience talk. That was good.
Thank you. Okay. So we have one in common. All right. So my number 2 was be a no limit soldier. Ditching limiting beliefs. Can't talk. Ditching limiting beliefs. So that one was my favorite for a couple of reasons. And we also had...
Because you like no limit.
I like no limit. Make them say, nah.
90s kids, man.
I know.
80s, 90s kids.
We are seriously dating ourselves. Old heads. New generation is like huh?
Right. Just Google it. It's good stuff.
You just had to be there. You just had to be there. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that whole being no limit.
Why that one? I'm curious.
Well, for one, it kind of goes back into it kind of has a little bit of relation to the vibe check one with how's your self-concept, in the sense that we dove into limiting beliefs and just how they can hinder you. And there was a whole worksheet that goes along with the episode. And if you don't have your Ditching Limiting Beliefs worksheet, go to www.victoriousliving.solutions.com. And there is a link on there where you can click and download yours. It's a great exercise because you don't even realize how many limiting beliefs you have and how they can just stop you in your tracks and have you scared to try things.
Yeah, and you talked about some of yours in there, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. Good stuff. Check it out.
Yeah. I'll get into that later, but this season I showed a lot of more vulnerability.
With some of the stuff that I was telling in this, I appreciated that because people can think, oh, no, she's got all this going on. She's perfect. Her life, no. Not quite, right?
No, not even.
I like how vulnerable you were, in that particular episode too.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so now we are down to our number 1 ranked episode, and I think we picked the same one for this one.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, that would be When It All Falls Down.
When It All Falls Down.
The interview with Jay.
Jay,
that was so good.
Jay, girl.
Speaking of transparency, right?
Okay,
man.
First of all, this was a 2-part interview.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know who we're speaking about, Jay is First of all, she is if a theme song were, she's a walking theme song, and that walking theme song is "I'm Every Woman." Okay, I'm Every Woman. That is Jay, flat out. She's a podcast host. You may have seen her on the Joyce Meyer podcast show, Talk It Out. She's one of 4 co-hosts on there. She is a singer, songwriter, background vocalist. You've seen her Grammy nominated. You've seen her in the Dreams movie. It was a movie, independent film that came out some years ago. She's been on stage with Lecrae, Tadashi. I mean, you name it. You've seen her on the Dove Awards. Get into Jay. Jay is everything. Okay, she is one of those women that you look at. Her fashion is always on point. She's funny. She's beautiful. Her voice is insane. And you think, this girl has everything. Her life is so perfect. Child, Jay came on here and just vulnerability on steroids. I so appreciated it. First of all, I knew I wanted to talk about this subject with her because of her post on social media. Jay went through a really bad divorce. And it was the guy he was the love of her life. They had been together since they were teenagers. They have a child together. Their daughter is in college now. And it played out pretty publicly. It got kind of messy. She's talked about it multiple times on the Joyce Meyer podcast. And so I knew I wanted to talk with her about how she got through that tough season, because we're all about victorious living over here. And you can't have the victory that we want to just shout the victory. It was like, okay, well, there has to be some kind of battle before you can shout the victory. And so I wanted to get her side of the story and just have her share how she got through that. But I wanted to do it in a way that I didn't want to talk about anything she wasn't comfortable talking about. So I was approaching the topic very respectfully and just being like, yeah, you know.
And there was nothing she wasn't comfortable talking about.
Look, I was just like, you know, if you don't want to talk about it. She was like, baby, look, let's lay it out. And I absolutely love that about her. She was completely transparent. We talked about so much. We had to split it into 2 episodes. So this actually ended up being episodes 16 and 17. You guys, please, if you have not listened to those episodes, go back and check them out. If you are going through anything that has knocked you so far back, be it the death of someone close to you, a relationship with someone you thought was just going to be forever and then they just switched up, the loss of a friendship, anything that, just think of a situation where you're just like, everything is fine, and then it just all falls down. And you're just like, how in the world did I get here? And how do I get out of this and even remotely return to any sense of normalcy at all? This is the podcast you want to listen to, episodes 16 and 17.
Yeah, I liked how she was transparent, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But I like how she talked about like the inner process that she went through to heal from that.
Yes.
You know, so it wasn't like, you know, okay, well, I'm just going to just get up and dust myself off. No, there was a process, right, of healing, of forgiveness, of, you know, how she saw herself. Like, I mean, it's almost like she took all the previous episodes, you know, the themes and the ideas there, you know, and talked about basically how she, you know, lived them out. So it was really good. I love when people open up like that, you know, because a lot of times people only give you so much, right? They only tell you so much, you know, well, it was rough, but I got through it. She told you like exactly how she got through it. Like, so really good stuff.
I really liked the how that she laid out, some of the tips that she gave, and I won't share them because I really want y'all to go and watch these episodes. They are on the Victorious Living Solutions YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Victorious Living Solutions. You can go and check out all the episodes that we're talking about, but these 2, they definitely, the Bible says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And baby, she laid her testimony out in such a way that anybody who's going through anything similar, if you listen to it, you will be greatly encouraged and you will overcome.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to Jay.
Yes.
So, yes, that was our rundown. And now we can just talk in general, like about what we learned from doing this podcast. I'm so happy with the season overall, how it turned out. You guys know the story, the backstory, but so those of you who are new, we were supposed to launch this podcast last year. We recorded the whole first season in the spring, I want to say, of 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then just overthinking things. We wanted to have someone else do the editing because we were both crazy busy and still are. And we wanted to we had all these big elaborate plans for it. And it was just like, financially, are we going to be able to get this, the things that we want? And to me, this is something that God's been helping me with. Sometimes you just got to start. You don't have to have everything perfect before you start. And you can know that, you can say that, and it sounds good in theory, but walking it out in practice as it related to this podcast was really hard for me. And so we filmed a whole season of the podcast and didn't even put it out until August of this year. And so if you guys want to go back and look at it, it's called The Lost Season. We nicknamed it The Lost Season because, we recorded it last year, but we put it out this year. So that's why we're referring to this season, the episodes that we've been talking about, as season 1, because the last season was stuff from 2021. But anywho, just now that we're into the season, it's just kind of like, I felt like, man, I was freaking out about nothing. We could have did this last year and had 3 or 4 seasons under our belt by now. So, but I'm just really happy. I'm looking forward to doing amazing things going forward with the podcast. And yeah, we got a little system down. We got rid of the little hiccups, and 2023 is going to be amazing. What are your thoughts?
Well, for the one that had to edit all the episodes,
yes,
you just have to show up and be pretty and talk and stuff like that.
I'm the on camera. I'm the on camera talent. Okay. Rodney is the behind the
off-camera
talent. Off-camera talent, and both are important because one can't happen without the other. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard. It was really hard to get the content to market. It was really hard. But there was something about us. We were reminding ourselves of the vision that we had for our house, and this was like in the summer, right?
Yes.
This was in summer.
Yeah.
And there was something about that was motivating, that, even though, yes, we were still crazy busy. Yes. There was still a lot going on. We just took a lot of extra time and did it. There were a lot of late nights and early mornings. But, man, God gave us the grace, and we were able to, persist. And I think that was a good lesson in perseverance for me as well. Just persevering until the end, until you finally accomplish it, because that was something, we started and then we stopped because it was hard.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is.
We have 3 kids under the age of 7 in our house.
It was just hard finding the
jobs and all kinds of responsibilities.
Yeah. So first off, for anybody who's put out a podcast,
shout out to you. Give
kudos,
yourself a hand.
We get it.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And a lot of times people think, all they're doing is just speaking. Man, look, you have to edit it. You got to put it on the right platforms. There's a process that goes along with it. But once again, anything that's worth doing, anything that has value, man, you need to persist and do it.
Absolutely.
And so I applaud anyone and everyone who's done a podcast. If you're in the place that we were at, and maybe you started and maybe you got down the road and you're like, okay, or maybe you started a podcast, you got a couple seasons up and you went on hiatus, man, pick it back up. You can do it. It's worth it. Pick it back up. I will say on the other side of it, man, I was so glad we did it.
Yeah.
I was so glad that we persisted. I was so glad that people were encouraged, and just thank all of you who have been, giving us feedback and viewing it, sharing it. Thank you so much. I mean, next year is going to be amazing. So, so stay tuned.
Yes. And I do have a form created. We're going to be putting this on the Instagram pages and on our socials and everything, and we'll be adding it to the website too. If you want to be a guest on the Victorious Living Solutions podcast, I have a whole intake form for you. We'll be posting the links. And let me just tell y'all how we film. Okay. because we ran into this a little earlier in the season. And just so we're upfront with you guys about how our process works, because of our busy lifestyles, when we do our tapings, we typically choose a 1 to 2 week window that is filming time. Okay. So for everyone who wants to be a guest on the show, you say, yeah, I want to, be a guest on the show. Okay. We'll send you a Calendly link with the dates of filming on there. And you need to pick one, respond and pick one. That's how we do it. It's not a thing where we can, and maybe it'll be different, later on down the road. But right now in this season of our hectic lives,
this is how we have to do it.
This is how we have to do it. Or it would be one episode and then y'all just don't see us for like 3 or 4 weeks and like, what happened? And we don't want it to be like that. And so doing it this way works best for us in this season. So if you fill out the intake form and we send you the link, please respond. It's very important that we can go ahead and schedule your taping, and then we'll let you know when your episode is going to air and you can share it with all of your followers, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Cool. Reach out. We are definitely looking for some guests.
Yes.
We're going to get into some amazing topics too. We got some really going to go a little deeper on some of the things that we talked about this season. So I'm excited.
And I guess we should talk about what kind of guest we would like to see and what we're looking to talk about in 2023. So I don't know. I'm going to ask you, what are some things you would like to see? And then I'll share some things I would like to see.
Well, as you know, like the name of the podcast is Victorious Living Solutions. So anything that is going to inspire people to overcome adversity, to crush and to hit goals, that's what we want to hear.
Absolutely.
So if you have a story, like if you have a testimony, like, hey, I overcame this, this whatever situation, kind of like we were talking about with Jay, a divorce or whatever, a business thing, please reach out. Also, if you're someone who produces content that inspires people. So if you have a book, if you have another podcast, man, like let's connect. We want to help to promote each other and to develop a community where we're all talking about victorious living. So anything along those lines, we're looking for it.
Absolutely. And I personally would like to hear from athletes. I want to talk to other fellow coaches, be it executive coaches or transformative coaches. This is a transformative coaching company. That's what Victorious Living Solutions is. I'm a certified master life coach. So everything we're doing, like my husband said, is pointing people toward overcoming challenges and living their best life. So topics that we tend to talk about, if you notice the themes throughout the seasons, have been mental health, physical health, any kind of health and wellness. What else have we talked about? There were like 5 areas. Basically health, financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and I can't remember the 5th one off the top of my head. But if you think about the things you need to have to live your best life. Yeah. If you're a financial expert, you know who I would love to have? I don't know. I'm going to pray on this one, but somehow, some way, I would love to talk to Anthony O'Neill.
Oh, man.
I love him.
Ayo.
I love him.
He is the best.
If anybody has, in like any way, we have a connection. Oh my God. Okay, you guys pray. I love him. I absolutely love him.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Like financial health, that's huge.
And I will say, we're going to also get into a very, very important topic a little more next year. I'm not even going to talk a lot about it, but all I'm going to say is listen to episode 7. So go back and listen to episode 7 from the last season. And we have a whole series of episodes where we're going to be talking about that. So
wait, I have to look at that one. Oh, yes. Okay, so episode 7 of the Lost season was entitled 4 Ways to Avoid Being Manipulated.
So we're going to get into a lot of the
very important
the deeper parts of manipulation, narcissism. How do you deal with those difficult relationships? Because that's something that we're always getting people talking about. They're always I don't know how many people we've talked to who've been struggling in those areas or have had relational issues like that. So,
and actually, spoiler alert, both of our favorite episodes were the interview with Jay. She delves into that.
Oh yeah. She talks
delves
about it as well.
Into that too. It's been coming up a lot.
So there will be a series of episodes next year that are going to focus on that. So
yeah.
Subscribe so you're the first to know.
Smash that notification bell. Yep. Smash it. Subscribe. On Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, on Google,
but most importantly, Anchor. On victoriousliving.solutions.com.
Yes.
That's when you're going to get the first of everything. Yes. So subscribe there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you guys, that is it. We are actually going to get the girls up from their nap. They're actually not napping. They're supposed to be napping. I feel like I say this on the podcast a lot.
Y'all already know. This is our brand, man. We got kids.
They just, I don't know what it is with them and going to bed. But anywho, we're going to get them up and we're going to take our Christmas pictures. We got on our cheesy pajamas. We're going to eat some pizza, drink some hot cocoa. You hear our co-producer. Oh, wait. Should we introduce? Come here.
Come on.
This guy.
Here's
you
our
guys,
production assistant. Come on.
We have a very important production assistant on this show. This guy holds his little marker. He assists us with things. This is our amazing son, Rodney Young III. We affectionately call him R3, or we also affectionately call him Munchkin. Say hi to the people.
Hi.
So he helps us coordinate the episodes and
it's Mommy and Daddy and R3's podcast.
Yes, it is. All right.
Now it's our Mommy podcast. And Daddy and R3's podcast. You guys, we have so many hilarious outtakes. I think we're going to do a whole reel of just the outtakes from this show featuring this child and his antics every time we're filming. But he loves it. You guys know I've mentioned a couple of times on the show that we're homeschool parents. And son here, this has basically become part of his homeschool curriculum because, I don't know, he's going to do something in
video
media.
Production.
He's so good at it.
I was busy playing violin.
You were busy playing violin? Okay. But he enjoys all of this, and you guys will be hearing from him. So look out for that reel. I don't know. You're probably going to be a TikTok star or something.
Maybe. We'll see.
This child loves filming this podcast. We put him down for his nap, too. And he heard that we were filming and he got out of the bed and came downstairs like, I know you all are not trying to film without me. I mean, he didn't say that, but he said some variation of that. No, I want to be involved.
Yeah.
I said I don't want to take a nap.
Yeah. You don't want to take a nap.
Of course.
All right, but we're going to sign off on this episode and get ready to eat pizza and take family Christmas photos and all of that. So do you want to sign off and wish the people watching a Merry Christmas? You want to do that?
Yeah.
So you got to say goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Ready?
Okay.
Got to look at the camera.
Goodbye and Merry Christmas, and thanks for watching and Happy New Year.
Good.
All right.
Well, you heard him, and that's us signing off. Team Young signing off. Have a Merry Christmas. Can't talk. Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you all in 2023.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.